Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Therapy. Been a hot minute. I have it's called the Spartan Race coming up in a few weeks, and I haven't really been training the best for it. My right foot's been really bugging me, so I haven't barely been running. I'm doing martial arts, which is good, but definitely kind of not enough. But I've also I've been getting into animation. 3D animation again, which is nice, and I've had it on my mind to get into this Unreal course and just start coding in Unreal. I mean, when has that not been a goal that I've talked about on this, right? What's the third achievement? I wasn't paying attention at first, but from what I know, 2 balloon bounce, okay. But I just, it's 11:09 right now, and my eyes are really tired, but my mind is very awake. And I was reading a book, hoping to that it would make me tired. It did, but like, I'm kind of wired at the same time. And I've been kind of feeling the VGT vibe lately. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. I got this book a while ago called Overcoming Gravity, 2nd edition. It's a very big, beefy book. It's pretty much a textbook. I was looking at the title, which is why I died there. Sure. And I literally just opened it up and I went to chapter 3, progression charts and goal setting, because I've read the first 2 chapters ages ago. I had to buy a second copy of the book. First one, we lost that. Anyway, I've been thinking a lot about this is gonna come back in a moment, but just in terms of doing things again. For the first time since I think maybe January of 2023, or maybe even earlier than that, but January. I remember a little bit before that I was feeling down, feeling a little in the dumps. But for some reason I just think January, start of the year. Don't really know why. I have my speculations, but I haven't thought too much about it. Because I think about how far this sense of stalemate has gone, or sense of whatever has gone, and I really, haven't done Wanikani since December, pretty much, for Japanese vocab, and that's tell. Anyway, I've been feeling that itch to do a bunch of things again, and I don't know exactly what triggered it. I think I'm having a lot of unconscious processes that I'm not really able to observe, but long story short, the effect of all that, like I won't go into it, the effect of all that is all of a sudden I find myself doing all these things again. And it's not really new. I know in the past it's been like this, full-time university, working on this coding project and making a YouTube video every week, and also learning Japanese. It's like the sand is finally settling. And I think, I'm so used to it at this point. Oh. Let's go. But I'm so used to the new achievements. For some reason, I'm expecting things to get shaken up again. And I'm trying to figure out how I can best form my habits, I guess. Wall rind, smash a pot. Okay. And I don't how to get my habits kind of back on that. And so all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm kind of doing too much. I'm trying to make new friends. I'm like, it's 5 years and I'm still thinking about this video game. I'm animating, which in part is for the video game, but it's also a creative outlet. Oh no. Wait. I'll work on, okay, we're good. Right microphone. I'm working. I'm about to start a part-time master's program, which is 1 class a week, but still. Martial arts is taking up at least 6 hours a week. In some theory, it'll work its way up to 16. I think after the Spartan race, I think I'm definitely gonna allocate my skill points toward martial arts. I'll still run here and there, but anyway, coming back to the book I was talking about, it's all about body weight exercises. I don't really like the gym I don't like weights. I mean, there's a sense of self-consciousness, but I don't know. The guy's talking about progression charts and skill charts, and he literally says that it's like an RPG. And I just, in my mind, I was like, duh. I had this big wadoi moment because I don't know how much, and I was like, that's it. The VGT energy and this topic have converged. I don't know if that's something I've talked about too much on this show before. I forgot I was calling it that now. But a while ago, I had this crisis that the world is a video game and we are the agent, we are the actor, and that was also why I believe that free will doesn't exist because it does. The absence of free will only exists because free will only exists because the absence of it does. Laws are meant to be broken, in other words. And this hit me because it kind of it's this innate understanding. Like I probably haven't made a full VGT about it, and if I haven't and I'm correct about that, it's because it's a hard thing to explain. I feel like it's one of those things where I have an innate understanding of my own perception of it. And this is the case with many things. Probably over half of the VGTs are like this. But, you know, sometimes I rehash the same things, but they mean a different thing every time. But it's this innate understanding that's kind of connected to this problem that I have. And all of a sudden it's like, of course, that makes so much sense. Usually, in the past, I've always thought it's time. You have to allocate time to these things. If you want to do animation, okay, an hour every day. Martial arts, all right, 10-minute commute. You do one class, it's 90 minutes. 2 classes, you're there for 3 hours, you know, maybe more, depending on the day of the classes. And so it's kind of like, that's how I thought about it. Oh, I have time to do animation in the morning. Now I do, you know, I'm doing mobility 4 days a week, and the other days I just pretty much just chill. I should be doing like Ring Fit Adventure, or this week I want to start getting myself climbing. Because again, 20-minute little bike commute to the climbing gym. Oh, this freaking lemur, dude. I'm never gonna make this jump. But at least I got some mad cash. That's unnecessarily loud. And so I think about this as time, and so for work, right, it's the time that goes into it, but not all time is made equal. I've also been thinking a lot about the nature of relationships lately, and whether the nature of a relationship can ever really change. And I think the answer is no, but that's maybe a VGT for another time. It's one that gets kind of personal too, so it's like, do I really want to talk about it? Whoops. That's just, you know, all kinds of relationships. But I've been thinking about, I forget why I mentioned that. Oh well. I think it's because I was thinking about work. And how, like, you know, if I'm, you know, good at kind of working with others, it's like maybe it's in my nature to have a relationship with people and such that I'm a manager. And yet here I am kind of wanting to be more of a principal engineer, track code monkey kind of thing. But anyway, that's off topic. And again, I literally read this sentence and I was like, I'm going to talk about this on VGT. So now I realize that, okay, all time is not made equal. That's why I brought up nature. Okay, the link there I'm going to leave absent. But all time should not, an hour of animation is not going to equal an hour of Japanese vocab. This is obvious, right? I mean, if I'm running now, when I first started running when I got to Seattle over a year ago, I was running around the lake, which is around a 5K near me. And I was walking some of it, and it would take me like an hour, probably. 40, 50 minutes an hour. But now I can run around it in under 30 minutes. And last week I ran a 10K, and I did it in 50 minutes, 50. Just under a 10K at least, which was fantastic. It was amazing. But it's kind of like, not only is the time shorter on that, but also the skill points change. So I can either run a 5K slowly or a 10K at this faster pace, but the skill points don't necessarily change there. Or the skill points do, sorry. It might still take less effort. Now, I use physical exercise here as an analogy because I think it's very objective and concrete, but suppose I go to a jiu-jitsu class on a Tuesday, and then I go to Muay Thai after. There are 2 classes in a row. You have to think about your skill point allocation in the sense of if I ran a 10K, let's just say that morning, I'm not doing morning runs anymore, but then I'm gonna have to take away from doing exercise at night because I'm gonna be tired, I'm gonna be exhausted, and the next day I might not want to go to class. It's both skill points and time spent in one general activity. And so it's like I want to show up to class 4 days a week, all the classes I can, even the morning ones, 6 to 7 morning classes on the days I don't do mobility. But if I'm training for this obstacle race, there's 2 of them, then I can't do that. So I effectively have to not take time away from Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. I will be doing that, but it's a side effect of reallocating my skill points. Like, I guess, I don't know, if you're unfamiliar with what I mean by skill points and stuff, there's a game called Dungeons & Dragons. I'm sure you've heard of it, even if you don't know how it works. And pretty much you get to start a game with a character, and you roll some dice, and you get to allocate skill points in different areas. So one of them might be charisma, for example. If you have a high charisma stat, then you can easily talk to people and ask people for favors in the game. If you have a high strength stat, you can, be very strong in the game. And when you roll these dice, you get 6 numbers pretty much, and you can allocate those numbers wherever you want. I think in some way, I've been treating my stat points, my skill points, as one pool of, I guess, homogeneous points, we'll call it. So whereas in Dungeons & Dragons, you have 15 points and 11 points, and you can say, okay, I want 15 in charisma or 11 in strength, or 11 on charisma and 15 on strength, reversing the 2. I've kind of just been saying, I have 40 points, let me put 15 on charisma and 11 on strength, and then do the rest with the other ones. But in theory, this breaks Dungeons & Dragons rules, so please don't be pedantic at me if you are a Dungeons & Dragons person. But if I have these 40 points, then I could also say, all right, I'm going to put 30 points into strength and 10 points into charisma. But you can't. In the game, you literally can't. And I think in life as well, it feels like I can because it's a matter of time. But it's not a matter of time. And if it's not a matter of time, then you can't just allocate all these skill points to what you want in the moment. With Japanese, maybe I was overexerting my skill points here. I constantly felt like I could be doing more and putting in more time, but diminishing returns exists everywhere. And it can't, in terms of physical activities, it can also become injurious. My right foot kind of feels out of whack because I did some 1 foot jumping on it and I shouldn't have. But I'm living with that now. I'm gonna try to go for a run tomorrow and we'll see. Hopefully the 4 foot barefoot running is a helpful thing, but that's aside the topic. And so this fear that I have that I was talking about at the beginning of this VGT, man, I feel like this is the most cohesive VGT I've ever made. Watch it be the most incohesive. But at the beginning I was talking about, I don't script this shit. I'm so proud of myself. I actually came around to what I wanted to talk about and I provided context. Oh my God. All of a sudden I fear I'm doing all these things and I'm gonna fail and then drop into doing nothing. Because for a while there was time when I was, God forbid, only doing my job. And even then I felt like I was doing a little less. But just doing my job, showing up to martial arts classes because I knew I needed the physical activity. Wasn't doing mobility. There was no game design going on. There was no creative outlet. I haven't uploaded a YouTube video since March. I still feel bad that I never made a book about the history of typing book that Sean Rona wrote, but it's funny because it just occurred to me that thinking of all these things to allocate skill points to, YouTube has not come back up. And again, I think it's because I just don't watch it anymore. I even went on the other day and I was like, nah. I don't know, I broke free of that or whatever, and I don't really miss it. I think I do miss making videos. I see comments sometimes come in on my email and I'm like, ah. But I don't know, it doesn't feel like my life's empty without it. And I think there are more in the future. I want the videos to be around projects. I started a blog as well, to write on, and then I can make videos out of those blog posts, seeing as I hate writing scripts. Wow, damn, I didn't even realize that. I just solved the not liking writing scripts. Write a blog post about a devlog and then take those, and that's your... Cool. Alright, well, man, this is a productive 11 p.m. hour. Whew. Well, that's all planning, so we'll see if I can put it into practice. But I'm doing all these things, right, and I'm kind of scared. Because what if it comes around again where I stop? You know, I'm dieting again to lose some weight, mostly for this race, because I feel like I can also make myself stronger, but if I can also drop some weight, that's like tackling the same problem from two fronts, right? You know, you're not pulling up as much weight, even if it's like 10-15 pounds, it can be a big difference. But I fear, you know, I ordered a curry chicken. So I was like, God, I want something that's not the same food I've been eating. And it came with rice, but I didn't order it and I had the rice. Oh, what do you do? And today I had a blueberry scone. My social rule applied, but you know, it's not gonna kill me. And so it's like these slip-ups, I'm sitting here wonder, like, is this a slip-up? Is this a lack of moderation? Like, is this the start to a chain of events that makes everything fall apart? And for some reason I'm thinking about that right now, and I'm thinking, no, it's not. Because, like, I made this keto cake, and I successfully moderated how much I ate, and, you know, having 1 or 2 pieces a day. One day I had 3, but that's because I did like 3 hours of jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, and I was like, I need this. I need this win. And so it's like, you know, I haven't done an animation video today. It's Saturday, and am I slipping up? Is that bad? When I did mobility in the afternoon the other day instead of the morning, is that bad? No. I think it's bad if it continues this trend. But I don't think it's bad. I just need to take this opportunity and recognize it for what it is and get back on, right? And so in terms of doing all these things, I feel like I need to sit here for a moment and decide, what are my charisma, strength, dexterity, wisdom? What are my categories here that I want to allocate my skill points to? For example, let's just say creativity. Creativity feels too broad, but creating is one of them. Well, we'll call it creativity. I want to draw. I actually feel like this is the most drawing I've done in a while, and it's the most consistently been on my mind for a while. I want to animate. I want to, you know, get in Unreal Engine and making things, and making prototypes in Blender, prototype models, while I learn to get better at modeling. That's what Eric Brown did with Stardew Valley. He just kept redrawing the sprites. And, you know, YouTube videos, content creation. That sucks. But I can't do all of them. But the thing is, and this comes back to that, you know, 40 homogeneous points, homogeneous being all the same. Let's say I want to do those 4 things, right? And let's say I also want to train for a Spartan race, train for a jiu-jitsu competition, and train to get into a Muay Thai ring. Those 3 things cannot share stat points with the 4 creativity things. I feel like I can't choose all 4 and then do none of the 3 martial arts ones. Because I'm digging into beyond what my creativity outlet kind of provides, so to speak. So like right off the bat, I know that I have this task for tomorrow. Get an Alan Watts quote saying, and try to make a small musical beat around it. I don't think I'm gonna allocate points to that right now. Because animation and sketching are far more important to me at the moment. I think ever since I've started wanting to make a game, music is the one thing I've been willing to outsource. I have a foundation for it, but anyway. And so, yeah, physical activity, running, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, You know, do I show up to all the martial arts classes? It's not like I can say, oh, I'm gonna take away animation and add in running 10K every other day as well, because again, it bleeds into the skill points. You can't, like, it is a time thing, sure, but my body might one day be able to handle that load, but I don't think it can do that right now, and I don't think I want to do that right now, to be honest. So it's like, you know, but then, you know, there's the questions like mobility training. I've been doing that 4 days a week for 2 weeks now. I'm in the 3rd week. And does that dig into physical stat points? Because it's really not. I mean, it's tiring, but you're working out joints. It's joint strength, and I think it's immensely important. I've been telling myself to do it for 2 years. I already feel better. I think it's like 80% because I do it in the morning right after I wake up, so my body's like moved into these new ranges of motion. I noticed in jiu-jitsu, my legs being turned, I'm like, okay, this doesn't hurt, but I have to be careful. But it's like, that's not nearly the same intensity as rolling in jiu-jitsu. Not that running is necessarily the same thing, but you can kind of equate them, I feel like, in some sense. You know, break these skill points down too much, and you're gonna have points that, you know, are good for the feet, points that are whatever. If you go to the gym, right, it's like points for upper body strength, etc. So it's like doing this bodyweight exercise book here. I'm realizing, okay, this jiu-jitsu competition, I can't. I mean, A, I suck at jiu-jitsu. Let's be honest. But B, if I'm training for those other two things, I just can't do this right now. In theory, it's not a matter of time. And I think this is why I like this points realization so much, is because I'm a believer that there is no finding time, it's always making time. Like, I will make time for people, I will make time for certain activities. I try not to just find time. If there's available time, I will attempt to make it for a certain thing. You know, if it's animation, but something more pressing shows up, I'll make time for that more pressing thing. I may be very rigid in my planning, but I'm very flexible in my execution. Whoo, that's a quote, baby. But yeah, I mean, after this, I'm gonna go right back to this book real quick, and then we're gonna go into it. All I can really think of, right? The weird thing is, like, my priorities I've listed as like work, what are they? MMA, calisthenics, animation, and Portuguese and Japanese eventually. Wait, that's actually a perfect division for the skill points. Not the things themselves, but the super categories they represent. Because in theory, like language learning, right? Japanese and Portuguese, you can allocate less skill points, and that's just listen to podcasts. More skill points is vocab reviews. But there might be in a more, I don't know, like cerebral category or something like that. This is fascinating. This is fascinating. This is gonna make no sense to me in the morning. But I don't know. It's very weird. Because I'm gonna need to start doing more of these bodyweight workouts if I want to get better. I realized that I kind of stopped caring about weight, which is nice, and I just realized that in some way it was never about that. That's just the unfortunate objective metric I had to work with, and it's always been about making my body be able to do cool things. Functional things, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I don't it's just how do I implement it, you know? When you need to be on your computer from 9 to 5 every day, you know, what can I change here? Right off the bat, I'm thinking mobility midday would not be a terrible thing. But it's also so nice right in the morning. But I don't know. It's like I have this moment, this burst where I can start doing these things and I can fall into the self-discipline necessary for these things, and I hopefully can make them stick. That's my main intention here. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the goal. We'll see. But yeah, it's just, what if we allocated things with stat points instead of time? Because time is just as arbitrary. I mean, I'm in a really fortunate position where I can say that. My job is flexible. It's like I could work at night if I wanted to wake up hella late. I mean, I still have morning meetings and stuff, and you're expected to be on the clock, and I don't think I could ever really do that, but you know, it's why a 9-to-5 workday can be so great. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking out of my ass, thinking about the stat points thing, and I think I'm just gonna think about it generally. I'll talk for a hot second more. I think I'm not gonna do my past self. Ooh, whoa. Usually I would have said usual self, but I just said past self there. I literally felt myself making the correction as I was talking. Interesting. My past self thing where I over-engineer and I sit down and come up with categories and come up with a number of skill points. But I think I'm just going to generally put down things in the category and just kind of choose some things. So for example, Spartan race coming up. Running is more important, and the calisthenics stuff is more important than Muay Thai. I think Jiu-Jitsu is actually really helpful conditioning for so many reasons. I also get back really late when it's Muay Thai. You know, creativity is another easy, quote-unquote, easy one. If I open up my mornings, you know, can I effectively trust myself to do the creative things in the morning? Do these art studies that I suddenly want to do. And it's all better with friends, I think. A friend of mine was like, yo, we should make a Discord server with this art, you know, separation and goals and stuff. And I was like, hell yeah. But I don't think I can do, so I think I'd have to keep mobility in the morning, and I think I would have to do that in the afternoon. Animation is, again, it's not a time thing. It's like staring at the same animation for an hour is going to be much less rewarding than staring at the animation 2 30-minute sessions 2 days apart. So anyway, I'm going to go implementing on that. Just some thoughts I want to share with the world. Last VGT got like 40 views or something. That was really weird. But yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Thanks for listening and or watching. Have a good one. And as always, don't forget to stay awesome.